my name's TJ Tucker, and my group and I chose to do Portfolio Management Team, which is also called PMT, for our Organizational Behavior Project. I think that we chose this because I've been a member for a year and a half, and I've found, in class that I could apply a lot of the concepts to the organization. So we're going to tell you all about that. Before we get started, let's just give you some background on what PMT actually is.
So PMT is a student-run investment fund that consists of about 40 people broken up into 9 sectors with sector heads in each of the groups and 3 to 4 analysts in each of those. And we meet weekly pitching different investment ideas by sector, trying to put together a good portfolio.
To help us learn a little bit more about PMT, we visited one of their meetings to get to know their processes and see them in action. And then afterwards, we interviewed some of their members to learn a little bit more about what they think about PMT.
So my favorite part is just getting to come every week and see the different companies. We do a lot of really interesting companies, like we've pitched Harley Davidson and Ferrari, and then we pitch companies like Wells Fargo. So you really get a broad sense of all the companies that are traded publicly.
My favorite part is definitely doing the pitches and getting that practice, like getting grilled basically, and like learning how to act under pressure and researching the stock market.
So while we heard a lot of positive things when talking with the PMT members, not all the feedback was necessarily this positive. Let's hear what they had to say.
So I feel really close with the people that are in my sector because I've got to spend time researching with them and everything. Outside of my sector, though, there's only a few people I've really come to know. Honestly, I don't even know some of the people's names.
Do you know what the minimum amount of meetings required are?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think is an area of improvement for next year is kind of getting those cross-sector bonds up.
The execs that I was turning to, they just couldn't walk me through it in a way that I understood. So it's no fault to them. I just wish, again, like you said, that there was a training program, and that's gonna be my job to.
One to attend would make it more effective because it's almost like morale is lowered by people who don't attend.
Gotcha.
So what we were able to gather from our interviews was that PMT is a great club that provides students with the opportunity to learn and have a hands-on experience about portfolio management. However, what we were able to also find was that there are major improvements that the club can work on to give students a better extracurricular experience here at Keenan-Flagler.
So when we initially decided to use PMT as the subject of our project, the issue that we had in mind was their problem with a lack of attendance. But then as we actually interacted with the organization and its team members, we found that there were several other issues outlined earlier. And so then when we analyzed those issues through the lens of organizational behavior, we found that the common thread was an overall lack of community in the organization's culture.
And then so we were looking for more reasons, behind kind of that lack of community of what was happening. And what we found, one main cause was the actual lack of set expectations in the beginning of every single recruiting year for PMT. So we saw that leadership didn't really set any, attendance standards of excellence, maybe even a unified commitment, and that caused the PMT team as a whole to not have any results-driven structure. And that was a failure on the leadership part. At the same time, what we saw amongst analysts was that they actually didn't feel qualified enough to make a difference in those expectations, to drive for higher expectations, because they didn't actually know how to create higher expectations for themselves.
And going back to the general issue with the culture of the community, a lot of the members didn't even feel connected to each other because they did work really well within their section. So they might have been very familiar and almost friends with those 9 or 10 people, but outside of their small group, they didn't even know each other's names because they would just come to the meetings, do the work, and then leave. So it kind of took away from that motivation as well, that they didn't even know each other. So if they weren't working within their small group, there was no connectivity there for their community.
After analyzing the situation, we decided that we want to create a culture where it's expected to come and people want to come. Here are 6 ideas that we came up with to fix the problem within the organization.
1. Modify the application that members see at the beginning when applying so that they know members can miss no more than 3 meetings a semester. In doing so, PMT will establish common standards of excellence and common performance goals for the entire club. Additionally, we want it to where execs are expected to miss no more than 1 meeting a semester except for extreme circumstances. In doing so, the execs will establish group norms of high attendance and show and serve as models for the members to be at meetings and be very active in the organization.
2. Our second idea is to create a mentorship program within PMT. So we want to take 1 person from each sector, create a small group of 4 to 5, and we're going to create these groups based on a survey of what each individual's goals are, who they're looking for in a mentor, maybe based off of major or history or general goals of what they want to get out of the club. And then that in itself is going to create a more extrinsic motivation because you have that connection to other people expecting you to be there. And then it's also going to make you more familiar with each other and build trust within the group to increase process gains. And it's all about creating a safe and welcoming environment at PMT.
3. Flash pitches. A common complaint among PMT members is that they only get exposure to their specific sector. So we want to introduce a program that allows them to pitch stocks from other sectors, potentially with members from other sectors as well. In doing so, we hope to increase skill variety through job rotation.
4. Currently, the only task significance within PMT is learning about investing. A way that we can increase task significance within the organization is by allowing the highest performing sector to donate a portion of profits to the charity of their choice. This will allow small teams to compete towards a common goal of bettering the community, which will also increase motivation.
Besh. So for our 5th proposal, there's currently a feedback system where at the end of all pitches, people vote on the pitches and they send in a feedback to the execs, and only the execs see that. What we recommend is the execs change this to where the sectors receive those feedback and those votes on their pitches. That way they can improve their pitches for next time, which will increase results-driven structure.
6. So after learning about the 8 necessary conditions for effective teamwork, we decided that we were lacking in the unified commitment department. So we thought by creating a training day to come together and just spend an extra couple of hours really breaking down PMT and how to succeed, it would really increase that commitment and make everyone feel like they were in it together and that they had the skills and tools to do their job the best they can. And this would also increase their performance aspect in the expectancy theory because they know that they can perform better and have a better outcome.
And looking back on our suggested solutions, one potential drawback that we ran across was that this higher expectation of the organization may alienate some members that are less committed, but we think that we can address this by picking the members that seem the most committed during the selection process.
Another drawback we found was that if one sector always wins, other sectors or members could feel left out and thus lose motivation. However, our other solutions, including the flash pitches as well as the mentorship program, those 2 things might be able to mitigate the drawbacks that we found from one team always winning.
Analyzing PMT was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Jenny?
Yeah, it was really fun to be able to apply what we learned in class to the organization.
Speaking of, we were able to introduce our recommendations to next year's PMT president. Here's what she had to say.
Thank you guys so much for making your recommendations. I'm really excited to get started as president of PMT for next semester. I knew going into the position that it's an organization with a great foundation, but there are definitely some issues that need to be improved upon. And I think getting to see that through the lens of organizational behavior that you guys have presented is really, really helpful and insightful. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much, and I really look forward to implementing.